This is the new Scott Addict RC, and it's one of the lightest production bikes currently on the market. 10 years ago, that would have been enough to sell it to me, but this is 2025, and these days I've well and truly been bitten by the aero bug. If I think about which bikes in the World Tour peloton spring to mind as the fastest, then it's the likes of the Cervelo S5 or the Canyon Aeroad CFR, or maybe the new Colnago Y1RS, not a lightweight climbing bike. Nevertheless, this latest Addict has already seen plenty of success, especially in the hands of Tom Pidcock. So, is this bike an upgrade or a downgrade to the Pinarello Dogma F that he was on before? Well, I've not long ridden one of them, so let's go and find out. This is the RC Pro model, which gets the HMX carbon layup. And so this size medium frame has a claimed weight of 650 grams. Now that is 50 grams heavier than the top tier HMX SL frame, but it's lighter than just about everything else out there. For example, the S-Works Tarmac SL8 has a frame weight of around 680 grams, and the new Colnago V5 RS, 685 grams. Fitted to the frame, we have full 12-speed Shimano Dura-Race. The rear mech is attached using the new UDH style, which is the first road bike I've ridden with that, I think. We've then got finishing kit from Syncross, so the bars and the stem. It's obviously all integrated at the front, as most modern race bikes are. And then they've got 6 degrees of flare, which again isn't uncommon these days, but they do hide this little tool. How about this? The little T25 tool, and all the bolts on the bike are T25. So you've got a loose bottle cage, sort that out, and you can pop it away in your handlebar. Nice touch. What else is there of note? These wheel sets are also from Syncross. They're not the really fancy one-piece carbon ones, but they are better than a lot of stock wheel sets. They're 40mm deep. They've got DT Swiss everything, DT 240 hubs, spokes, nipples, etc. They're really nice. I would choose those over that Pinarello that we tested. Came with those Princetons. Didn't overly like those wheels because they were really skinny. These have 25mm internals, although they are hookless, so bear that in mind if you're not a fan of that. Fitted to them, we've got a set of Schwalbe Pro 1s, the TLE version. They're a solid premium choice. Might not be my first choice, but it's been a while since I've used a set of Schwalbes, and they're pretty good. And that brings me on to 5 things that I think could be better on the Scott Addict RC Pro. Number 1, this saddle. Now, I realise that saddles are a very personal choice, but both myself and Stu, who wrote the full review that's over on the road.cc website, if you want to read that, we both agree that this is not for us. It just seems, well, A, really firm. There's not much of a pressure relief channel, and it's also almost domed in the wrong direction. But yeah, neither of us have got on with that overly well. Secondly, it doesn't ship with a power meter. Now, for that, you need the ultimate version, which will set you back £12,799, so a lot more. By no means is this a deal breaker, but these days, even mid-range bikes do often come with one fitted. Third, and it's another personal preference thing, this paint job. Is it doing it for you? I get that they wanted to leave this rear half unpainted to try and save weight, because paint adds a significant amount of weight to a bike, but I just feel like it's a little bit disjointed. I would have liked another flash of paint down there at the back half, or maybe not quite such a, maybe like a slash, not this straight edge. I really like this Scott logo though, how it's polished. Anyway, let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. Number 4, and I'm going to sound like a bit of a broken record here, but the lack of customization that you can do when buying this bike. Scott are by no means alone here, but you can't choose your handlebar width, you can't choose your stem length, you can't choose your crank length either. Or you can't swap out these wheels, for example, if you wanted something that wasn't hookless. As I say, lots and lots of bikes are like this, but for me, it is a reason that I would choose a Ridley or a Factor or a Ribble over this one. And number 5, well, there isn't a number 5. Both me and Stu have had very few complaints with this bike over the last few months. And well, I guess that leads us on to 5 things that we really like about the 2025 Addict RC. I like the fact that it weighs just 6.58 kilos on our scales of truth with the bottle cages and computer mount fitted. Rightly or wrongly, there is just something very tangible about how much your bike weighs, and if a mate picks this up at the cafe, then they are going to be very impressed. Next, I like this computer mount. It's been 3D printed out of titanium. It's not cheap, it's £100, but it is also very light. Honestly, I'm not that fussed about a few grams saved, but it looks fantastic. I also like the fact that this bike can fit up to 34mm tyres. It comes with 30mm tyres, which is also a very good thing. Some very modern thinking from Scott there. Those are much more suitable for the UK roads than the RCRF, which had much skinnier rubber fitted. I also like that compared to its World Tour competition, this Addict is a bit of a steal. Don't get me wrong, it's still a mental amount of money, but at £8,599, a Dura-Race equipped Specialized Tarmac SLA or Trek Madone, well, that would set you back almost £3,000 more. And the final thing I like about this bike is the way it rides. So let's go and do a bit more of that, shall we? So what is the Scott Addict actually like to ride? Well, to be honest, this is where me and Stu have been most impressed with it. And in fact, I can't think of the last race bike that I haven't been able to get off of Stu a bit quicker. He really wanted to hold on to this one. Now, why it's so good is partially speed and a big chunk of comfort too. Now, there's a lot of race bikes that are very good at their job. They've been optimized to be as fast as possible in a pro peloton, but the pros nearly always ride on really smooth roads. And most UK roads aren't really smooth. This is a bike that is good enough for Tom Pidcock in all of his World Tour races, and then also good enough for us on UK roads. Now, I think a big part of that comfort is obviously going to be from the tyres. 30mm tyres soak up a lot of road imperfections, but both me and Stu have swapped out these wide tyres for something much skinnier to see what the frame's actually doing, and it's doing a really nice job. Now, I think that's because this got this quite sloping top tube. You've got a lot of exposed seat post, and that seat post is skinny, which means that you get that bit of flex. Where you don't get flex is when you get out the saddle. You can get on the pedals and up a climb, it really does feel really rather responsive, and that is no doubt because of bottom bracket stiffness. I think it's also helped out by, it's got pretty short chain stays, 410mm I think. That gives it a really nice short wheelbase, so it feels agile too. And over the years here at road.cc, we've ridden a lot of Addicts, all sorts of generations of Addicts, and they've all been pretty damn good, to be honest. This latest one though just seems to take it up a notch. It's got that final nth degree that turns it into a bit of a superbike killer. You could argue that it is a superbike, so it should be, but it's cheaper than a lot of the superbikes, and it's every bit as good. It feels good on descents too. It's pretty confidence inspiring. It feels controlled. It doesn't feel like some lightweight bikes can feel really skittish on descents, especially on like loose gravel and things. They just feel a bit weightless, a bit all over the place, a bit airy-fairy. You don't get any of that from this. The head tube angle and the seat tube angle put you in a nice position. Like, this is as low as you would ever run it, and it's actually not a insane position. This is a size 54, which should be really aggressive for me, and it's not as aggressive as the most aggressive out there. And then you get to a flat, and it's really good there as well. We often say that the most of your air resistance comes from your body. It still comes from your body, although this bike is apparently 12 watts faster than its predecessor, which is a sizable chunk. Can't remember what speed that's at, but we'll pop it up on the screen. When Scott first announced this bike, I asked why. Why do pros need a bike that's any lighter when their aero bikes are already on the UCI weight limit? And why do the rest of us need to shave a few grams off of our frames when it'll make no meaningful difference to our performance? Now though, having actually ridden this thing, I'm asking why more manufacturers aren't doing it. The Specialized Athos is a very, very highly regarded bike for the way it handles and the way it feels out on a road. And this feels like the updated version with updated looks, some aero tweaks, some modern integration. And is it just a coincidence that both of these very nice bikes to ride are also very light? Maybe, but I think when manufacturers start optimizing everything for aerodynamics, they sometimes forget that it's a human being that's going to be riding it. This might not be the fastest bike in a simulator or in the wind tunnel, but it is one of the best feeling bikes that I've ridden in the last few years. Let me know what you think of the Scott Addict, as well as whether you would consider buying a climbing bike in 2025 down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like, subscribe to the channel for lots more of the latest bikes, and we'll see you next time.